My name is Caleb. I was 29 years old, a plumber, a nobody. She walked past me 3 times before she ever looked at me. The 4th time, she looked at me like I was something she'd stepped in. That was the beginning. But it all started with a pipe. Of course it did. I'd been working the same route for 6 years. Residential calls mostly. Apartment buildings. Family homes. The occasional small business. Nothing fancy. But then my boss called me on a Monday morning, November. Cold enough to see your breath. I need you on a VIP, he said. Ashford Tower. Downtown. Penthouse level. Main water lines compromised, and the building manager is losing his mind. VIP how? Victoria Ashford. How? I'd heard the name. Everyone in the city had heard the name. Ashford Properties owned a third of the downtown real estate. Victoria Ashford, 34 years old, had inherited the company from her father and tripled it in 5 years. She was known for 2 things: being brilliant, and being absolutely unbearable to work with. Triple rate, my boss said. Just don't say anything to upset her. What counts as upsetting her? Breathing wrong, apparently. I drove to Ashford Tower, signed in at the lobby, got in an elevator that probably cost more than my truck, rode up to the penthouse. The building manager, a nervous little man named Gerald, met me at the elevator. Thank God, he said. She's been awake since 4 in the morning. The water pressure dropped. She couldn't shower properly. Couldn't shower properly, I repeated. I know how it sounds. It sounds like a very small problem. Please don't say that in front of her. He led me to the main utility corridor. I crouched down, opened the access panel, looked at the pipe. It wasn't a big fix. 2 hours, maybe 3. A valve seal had failed. Standard repair. I was halfway through the diagnosis when the door to the corridor opened, and Victoria Ashford walked in. She was tall, dressed already, even at 7 in the morning. Black. Everything black, hair pulled back so tight it looked like it hurt. Eyes the color of winter sky. Cold, pale, impatient before she'd said a single word. She looked at the access panel, at the tools on the floor, at me. You're the plumber. Good morning to you too, I said. Gerald made a small sound beside me. Like a man preparing for impact. Her eyes narrowed. How long? 3 hours, maybe less. I have a conference call at 9, she said. And you'll have water pressure before then. I replied. I need it done in an hour. She insisted. I looked at her, looked at the pipe, looked back at her. The pipe doesn't care about your conference call, I said. The temperature in the corridor dropped approximately 5 degrees. Excuse me. You heard me. 3 hours is 3 hours. I can do it in 2 if I skip the quality checks. But if another seal goes next week, that's on you. I said without fear. She stared at me. Long cold. Gerald, she said, not looking away from me. Is this the best we have? He's the best in the city, Miss Ashford. Gerald said, then why does he talk like he's never been in a penthouse before? Because a penthouse is just a high-up apartment, I said. And a pipe is just a pipe. I rudely interrupted. I went back to work. She stood there for another 30 seconds. I could feel her eyes on my back, sharp as needles, then she left. Gerald exhaled like a man whose heart had restarted. I fixed the pipe in 2.5 hours. She wasn't there when I finished. Gerald paid me and practically pushed me toward the elevator. You're lucky, he said. Because she didn't fire me? Because she didn't say anything else? Usually she has more to say. I rode down in the elevator, shaking my head. Some people, I didn't think about Victoria Ashford after that. Why would I? People like her existed in a different world, and I was busy with my own. I was busy not telling anyone that I'd been having headaches for 3 months. The kind that started behind my left eye and spread like something burning. The kind that 2 painkillers and a dark room didn't fix. I was busy telling myself it was stress. Dehydration, too much coffee. I was very good at telling myself things weren't serious. The second meeting happened 6 weeks later. A water main on Ashford's commercial property on 5th Street. A retail strip she owned. One of the stores had flooded. Significant damage. My boss sent me again. Triple rate again. I spent 4 hours on my knees in a flooded storage room. Found the source. Fixed it. Assessed the surrounding infrastructure. I was writing up my report in the lobby when Victoria Ashford walked in. She was on her phone, talking fast, gesturing with her free hand, the kind of person who moves like the world owes them right of way. She almost walked into me. I stepped back just in time. She stopped, looked at me, took a half second to place me. The plumber, she said. The pipe, I said, also fixed. She looked at my report sheet. Is it documented? Every crack, every weak joint, everything that's going to cost you money if you don't deal with it in the next 6 months. She took the report from my hand. Not asked. Just took it, read it. You're thorough, she said, like this surprised her. That's my job. Most tradespeople just fix the immediate problem. Most tradespeople don't want a call back in a month. I'd rather fix it right and not see you again. Something moved across her face, fast gone before I could read it. Smart, she said. Thanks. She handed the report back. Our fingers didn't touch. But almost. She walked away. And I noticed, for the first time, that she looked tired. Not sleepy tired, the other kind. I put it out of my mind. I had a doctor's appointment the next morning. My first one in 4 years. I should have gone sooner. The doctor's name was Mary Chen. She was good at her job and kind enough to be honest without being brutal. She sat across from me with the scan results on her desk, and said the words that split my life in two. Glioblastoma. It's an aggressive form of brain tumor, Caleb stage 4. I sat very still. What does that mean? Exactly. It means. She paused, chose her words with care. Without treatment, we're looking at 3 to 5 months. With aggressive treatment, chemotherapy, radiation, surgery if possible, we might extend that to 12 to 18 months. Might. I want to be honest with you. I looked at the scan on her screen, the white mass behind my left eye. That's what the headaches were. Not stress, not dehydration. Just this. Just a thing that was ending me. Treatment, I said. What does that cost? She told me. I didn't have health insurance. Hadn't been able to afford it for 2 years. There are programs, she said. Assistance. We can look at options. What's the realistic number for the full treatment? She told me. I thanked her. Shook her hand. Walked to my truck. Sat in the parking lot for 40 minutes without moving. Then I called my boss. I need the VIP jobs, I said. As many as you can give me, I need the money. You okay, Caleb? I just need the work. He sent me back to Ashford Tower 2 weeks later. Commercial level plumbing assessment. The whole building, new insurance requirement, 3 days of work. Good money. I showed up Monday morning. Got my access credentials from Gerald, who looked relieved to see someone he recognized. Say me rules, he said. Don't say anything to upset her. Last time I told her truth and she called it smart. That was a one-time miracle. Don't push it. I spent the first day working through the lower floors. Nobody bothered me. Just the work and the pipes, and the quiet hum of an expensive building. Second day, upper floors. Third day, penthouse level. I was in the main utility room on the top floor, late afternoon. When the door opened, Victoria Ashford didn't look like she'd come to check on the plumbing. She looked like she'd come to think in a room where nobody would bother her, and then found me there. She stopped. You're still here, she said. Third day of 3, she looked around the utility room. A strange choice for a quiet moment, I thought. I'll be done in 2 hours. I offered. Then it's yours. She didn't leave. Crossed her arms. Leaned against the far wall. You can keep working, she said. I'm not here about the plumbing. What are you here about? None of your business. Okay, I said, and went back to work. She stayed. For 2 hours, she stood against that wall while I worked. Sometimes on her phone, sometimes just still. Thinking about something she wasn't sharing, I didn't ask. I just worked. When I finished, I packed my tools. Wrote up the final report. There are 3 issues in the northeast corner of the 14th floor, I said, handing it to her. Minor, but deal with them before spring or they'll become major. She took the report, glanced at it, looked at me. You don't talk much, she said. You looked like you needed quiet. Something passed through her eyes. Surprise, maybe. Or something softer than surprise. Most people talk more when they're nervous around me, she said. I'm not nervous around you, most people are. I know, that seems like a lonely way to live. I picked up my toolbox. Good night, Miss Ashford. I left. And the third time in 3 days, I thought about how tired she looked, And I thought about my scan results. And I thought about how strange it is that two people can be in the same room, both carrying something heavy, and neither one knowing it about the other. I went to work again following week after I've begged Mr. Ray to give me more VIP jobs. She was standing at a printer outside a glass-walled office. 26 maybe, natural hair pulled up high. Brown skin, bright eyes, laugh lines around her mouth, even when she wasn't laughing. Her name is Sasha. She looked up when the elevator dinged. "You the plumber?" she asked. "That's me." Finally. She smiled. Easy, warm, like a door opening. "I've been washing my hands with water pressure, like a sad little drizzle since yesterday." I laughed. "Couldn't help it. I'll get to it," I said. "I'm Caleb, Sasha. I'm the design director on 14. She gestured down the hall. "Utility rooms that way. Gerald will show you. And for the love of everything, please fix it fast because I have a presentation in 2 hours, and I need to actually feel human first." "I'll do my best." "That's all any of us can do," she said, and went back to the printer. I stood there 1 second longer than I needed to. Gerald cleared his throat behind me. Right, pipe work. I didn't meet Victoria Ashford again until the 5th day. By then I'd spoken to Sasha 4 more times. She brought me coffee on day 2 without being asked. Remembered I took it black. Stopped by the utility room twice, just to check how things were going, which had nothing to do with the plumbing, and both of us knew it. She made me laugh. Easy and effortless. The way some people just fit into your natural rhythm. I was thinking about her when the door to the utility room opened on day 3, and Victoria Ashford walked in. I remembered her face, of course. Why not? She looked at me like I was a problem she hadn't scheduled time to deal with. "You're still here," she said. "5th day of 6, I said. "I was told 4 days. "You were told wrong." Her eyes sharpened. "Excuse me, the initial assessment underestimated the scope. There are pressure issues in the northeast joins that weren't in the original report. I could have left after day 2 and you'd have had a flood by Friday." I went back to work. "You're welcome." Silence behind me. Heavy silence. The kind that means someone is deciding whether to be furious or something else. "Who told you about the northeast joins?" she said finally. "Nobody. I found them." "That's not in your contracted scope. Number, but it's in your wall." I glanced back at her. "Do you want me to leave it?" Another silence. "Finish the job," she said, and left. That was the whole conversation. She was in the room for less than 4 minutes, and somehow she left more presence in the air than anyone I'd ever met. I didn't know what to do with that, so I went back to work. And later I went down to 14 and talked to Sasha for 40 minutes, and tried to forget about those January eyes. Here's what I want you to understand about Sasha. She wasn't a mistake. She wasn't a distraction, or a wrong turn, or a consolation prize. She was real. She was warm, and sharp, and she had opinions about everything and wasn't afraid to share them. She read architecture magazines and old mystery novels. She had a sister in Atlanta she called every Sunday. She was afraid of escalators, but wouldn't admit it. She ordered the same thing every time at every restaurant and felt no shame about it. I liked her. I liked her in that easy, uncomplicated way you like someone who fits into your life without forcing it. We started getting coffee. Just coffee, nothing dramatic. She'd text when she had a break. I'd be nearby on a job. We'd sit across from each other and talk about nothing important, and I'd leave feeling lighter than when I arrived. She knew about the headaches. I'd let it slip one afternoon when a bad one hit mid-conversation. Had to grab the table. "Hey, you okay?" Her hand on my arm. Immediate. "Just a headache." That's not a just headache face. "I'm fine." She didn't push. But she watched me more carefully after that. I should have told her the truth. I didn't. Because telling the truth would have made it real, and I was still deep in the business of lying to myself. One evening, outside a coffee shop, she looked at me in that way she had. Direct, but soft. "What are we doing, Caleb?" "Having coffee." "You know what I mean?" I did know. I looked at her. At the warmth in her face, the easiness of her. "I like you," I said. "A lot," but she repeated. "I have something going on. Health stuff. I don't know what it looks like yet. And I don't think it's fair to start something real when I can't. Let me decide what's fair to me. Sasha, I'm not asking you to marry me. I'm asking if this is something." I looked at her for a long moment. "Ask me again in a few weeks," I said. "Once I know more." She nodded. slow, reading something in my face she didn't like. Okay, she said. A few weeks. But a few weeks became the collapse. The hospital. And Victoria Ashford sitting uninvited in a chair beside my bed. Sasha found out from— What are we doing, Caleb? Sasha asked quietly. Having coffee, I responded. You know what I mean. She continued. I did know. I said quietly. I looked at her. At the warmth in her face. The easiness of her. I like you, I said. A lot. But, she repeated, I have something going on. Health stuff. I don't know what it looks like yet. And I don't think it's fair to start something real when I can't. Let me decide what's fair to me. She cut in immediately. Sasha, I said slowly, I'm not asking you to marry me. I'm asking if this is something. She interrupted. I looked at her for a long moment. Ask me again in a few weeks, I said. Once I know more. She nodded, slow, reading something in my face she didn't like. Okay, she said. A few weeks then, but a few weeks became the collapse. A few weeks became the ambulance, the hospital. And Victoria Ashford sitting uninvited in a chair beside my bed. Sasha found out from Gerald. She came to the hospital on the second day. Stood in the doorway of my room, with a look on her face that I will carry with me forever. She saw Victoria sitting in the visitor's chair. Victoria saw her. Nobody said anything to anyone for a moment. Sasha, I finally said. Gerald told me. Her voice was careful. I came to see if you were okay. Let me take this call, Victoria said, and excused us. What's the issue, Sasha asked. Brain tumor, I responded. Oh no. How long have you known? She asked me. 2 months. I responded. Something moved across her face. Hurt, deep and honest. 2 months, she said. And you didn't tell me. I wasn't telling anyone, I responded slowly. I'm not anyone. Her voice broke slightly on the last word. Just slightly. She held the rest of it together with both hands. I thought we were. She stopped. Looked at Victoria, who just stepped in, and looked at me. I should go, she said. Sasha, please. I'll come back. She said it quietly. When you have fewer visitors. She left. Victoria watched the empty doorway. Who is she? She asked. Someone I was getting to know. I responded. Were you in a relationship? She asked, number almost. Maybe, I responded. Victoria looked at me and said, she's in love with you. She barely knows me. I said, sometimes that's when it happens fastest. She picked up her phone, looked at the screen. Set it back down. She deserved to know you were sick, she finally said. I know. You were protecting yourself, not her. She continued again. I know that too. I responded, feeling guilty she didn't say anything else about it. But the truth sat in the room between us, heavy and important. I had let someone get close and then kept the most important thing from her, because I was scared. And that was a pattern I needed to look at. Sasha came back 3 days later. She brought food. Saturday in the chair. We talked for 2 hours. She was hurt. She was honest about being hurt. She didn't perform forgiveness she didn't have yet. I would have stayed, she said, if you told me. I want you to know that. I know, I said, but you didn't give me the chance. She continued slowly. She asked. I looked at my hands, these calloused, work-worn hands. Because I think I knew, I said slowly, that if you stayed, I'd fall in love with you. And falling in love with someone when you're dying felt like the cruelest thing I could do to either of us. She was quiet, and now, she said, now Victoria Ashford had been coming every day for a week with coffee. She'd researched how I took it. Now there was something happening that I didn't understand yet, and couldn't explain. I don't know what now looks like, I said honestly. She nodded like she'd already known. The woman, she said. Victoria, it's not Caleb. Her voice was gentle, final. I watch people for a living. I'm a designer. I read rooms. I read faces. She looked at me steadily. She comes every day. She sits in that chair like she has a right to it, and she paused. You look at the door when it's almost time for her to arrive. I had no answer to that. She's difficult, I said. She's proud and cold, and she runs people out of their homes and talks to people like they're inconveniences. And I can't stop trying to figure her out. Sasha smiled, sad and honest and genuinely warm all at once. That's the thing about the complicated ones, she said. They get in. She stood up. I'm not going to pretend to be happy about this, she said. But I genuinely hope you get better, Caleb. I hope you get all the time you deserve. She picked up her bag. And I hope whoever you choose loves you sincerely, because you deserve to be. She walked to the door. Sasha, I called out. She looked back. I'm sorry for not being honest when I should have been. She held my gaze for a moment. You're honest now, she said. That's something. She left. I never stopped caring what happened to her, but I also never looked at the door again in the way she described. Not for her, for Victoria. I was in the hospital for 3 more days. Nobody else visited. My friends from work didn't know. I'd carried this alone. On this day, there was a knock on the open door. I turned my head. Victoria Ashford stood in the doorway. I stared at her. She stared at me. She stepped inside, looked around the room, looked at me. She sat down in the visitor's chair, uninvited, set her Christian Dior designer bag on the table. What's the medical situation? Specifically. I looked at her. Brain tumor, I said. Not because I wanted to tell her, but because the way she asked, direct, no flinching, no performed sympathy. I respected it. She didn't react the way most people do, didn't gasp, didn't say, oh, I'm so sorry, didn't look away. She held my gaze. Treatment, working on funding it. How much? Miss Ashford. How much? I told her. She took out her phone, made a note. Stop, I said. She looked up. I know what you're doing, and no. I said no. I'm not a charity case, I continued. I'm not a charity organization either, she responded. Then why are you here? I asked sharply. She put her phone down. A question went through her face, like she was asking it of herself too. How are you this calm? She said. About dying? Who said I was calm? You look calm. I look tired, I said. Those aren't the same thing. She was quiet for a moment. I'll be back tomorrow, she said, standing up, picking up her bag. You don't have to, I said. I'm aware of what I don't have to do, she said. Crisp, cool. I do very few things I don't want to do. She left. I lay in the hospital bed, staring at the ceiling. Victoria Ashford had sat in my hospital room for 20 minutes, and I still couldn't decide if she was made of ice or something much more complicated. She came back the next day, and the day after that. She came every day for a week. Never long, never warm exactly, but consistent. She brought coffee on the 3rd day, set it on the table without comment. How do you know how I take it? I asked. I asked the nurse what you ordered from the cafeteria. I asked the nurse what you ordered from the cafeteria. You researched my coffee order. I research everything. That might be the strangest kind of kindness I've ever received, I said. It's not kindness, it's efficiency. I don't like wasting time on bad coffee conversations. I almost smiled. Right. On the 5th day I was discharged, standing in the lobby, waiting for a cab. Victoria's car pulled up. The window came down. Get in. I have a cab coming. Cancel it, she said like a command. I'm not canceling my cab because you pulled up. Caleb, her voice was sharp. Then something underneath the sharp. Just get in the car. I canceled the cab. We drove in silence for a while. She looked straight ahead. Her jaw was tight. I want to pay for the treatment, she said finally. Victoria. First time I'd used her first name, she noticed. I'm not taking your money. Why not? Because of pride. Because I don't know you, and you don't know me, and whatever this is, I gestured between us. I'm not starting it with me owing you my life. Starting what? The car was stopped at a light. She looked at me. I looked at her. I don't know, I said, but it's something. isn't it? Long pause. You're very direct, she said. You respect direct, I've noticed. Another pause. Fine, she said. Then what do you suggest? You need treatment, you can't afford it, and she stopped. And you what? Her hands tightened on the wheel, and I find myself caring about the outcome, which is inconvenient. Inconvenient. Very, she repeated. You find my potential death inconvenient. I find caring about a plumber I've spoken to 6 times inconvenient, yes? She looked at the road. I'm not good at this. At what? People, the personal kind, I know. Everyone around me wants something. My money, my connections, my decisions. I stopped trusting that anyone was just present, just there. And I'm different because you told me a pipe doesn't care about my conference call, she said. And you were right. And nobody tells me when I'm wrong. Nobody in years. The light turned green. Let me help you, she said. Not as charity. As a loan, you pay me back when you're better, monthly, whatever you can manage. And if I don't get better, then you don't get better. And I lose money, and I'll survive it. I looked at her profile. This cold, proud, difficult woman who'd come to a hospital for a plumber she barely knew. Who brought coffee without being asked? Who didn't flinch at the word tumor? Why do you really care? I said. She didn't answer for a long time. Because you're the only person who's talked to me like I was regular in longer than I can remember, she said quietly. And I didn't know I missed that until you did it. I accepted the loan. I hated it, I accepted it. Dr. Chen started treatment the following week. Radiation first, then chemotherapy. It was brutal. I'm not going to dress it up. The first round of chemo left me flat on my back for 4 days. Sick in ways I didn't know I could be sick. Victoria came on the second day. She let herself into my apartment. I'd given her a key for emergencies, which I immediately regretted when I was lying on the bathroom floor at 2 in the afternoon and heard the front door open. Caleb, bathroom I managed. She appeared in the doorway. I was sitting against the bathtub, pale and destroyed. Most people would have looked away, made some polite excuse, left the room. She sat down on the bathroom floor next to me, on tile that hadn't been cleaned since last week. You don't have to. Stop telling me what I don't have to do. She reached up, ran cold water over a washcloth, handed it to me. When's the last time you ate? Yesterday morning. What do you have in the kitchen? Not much. I'll order something. I can't eat. You'll try. That was Victoria Ashford's version of care. Not soft, not gentle, just present and practical and completely unbothered by the mess of it. She ordered soup from somewhere. Saturday at my kitchen table while I managed half a cup. Didn't talk much. Read something on her phone. But she stayed. For 4 hours. You don't have friends, she said at one point. Not accusatory, observational. I have friends. Who's come to see you since the diagnosis? I didn't answer. You told no one? She said. I didn't want to make it their problem. It's called letting people in, Caleb. It's not a problem. It's just, says the woman who told me she doesn't trust that anyone is just present without wanting something. She looked at me. Something shifted. Tasha, she said quietly. We're the same, I said. That's the funny thing. You and me both alone. Both pretending it's fine. I'm not pretending. You're sitting on a plumber's kitchen floor at 7 in the evening, instead of at whatever dinner or event or board function you're supposed to be at. You're pretending something. Long silence. I canceled 2 things to come here, she said. I know. I don't cancel things. I know that too. She looked at me, eyes that usually kept everyone at arm's length. This is terrifying, she said. Just like that. Just the raw truth of it. I don't do terrifying. Neither do I said. But here we are. Here's what nobody tells you about dying. It's not the big moments that get you. It's the small ones. The Tuesday morning when Victoria shows up at 8 o'clock with groceries, and realizes she's been shopping for 2 without noticing. The Sunday afternoon when you're too tired to talk and she just reads at the end of your bed, feet tucked under her, shoes off, completely herself in a way she never is anywhere else. The evening she laughs hard. I told her about a call I'd done 3 years earlier. A woman's cat had somehow gotten into the wall cavity and knocked a pipe loose from the inside. I'd spent 4 hours trying to fix the pipe waiting. The cat observed from a hole in the drywall, completely calm. Victoria laughed. Not her usual controlled sound, something real. Something that came from her stomach. I stared at her. What? She said, catching my expression. Nothing, you just look different when you laugh. Different how? Like yourself. Like who you are when nobody's watching. She stopped laughing. Something crossed her face, complicated, unguarded. Nobody watches me like you do, she said. It's unsettling. Because I see you. She looked down at her hands. Because I'm not sure I like what you see. What do you think I see? Someone in difficult cold. Someone who built walls so high she forgot there were doors. I thought about that. I see someone who was hurt badly enough that she decided being the one who hurts first was safer, I said. That's different from cold. She was very still. Who hurt you? I asked. Long silence. My father, she said, finally. He built this empire and then used it to measure me. Everything I did was never enough. Get straight A's, ask why it wasn't a perfect score. Win an award, ask why you say didn't win too. She paused. When he gave me the company, I thought it was trust. It was a test. It's always been a test. Did you pass? I tripled the value in 5 years. Most people would say yes. What do you say? She looked at me. Her eyes were bright. Not with tears. With something older than tears. I say I don't know what passing looks like anymore. I've been performing so long I forgot what I was performing for. I reached out, put my hand over hers. She looked at our hands. Caleb, you don't have to say anything. I know. She didn't pull away. I'm just noting that this is happening. Noted. She turned her hand over. Held mine back. And we sat there like that. Two people who should have had nothing in common, holding on to each other in a quiet apartment while the city moved outside. 3 months into treatment, Dr. Chen called us both in. Victoria had started coming to my appointments. She'd announced this, not asked. I'd chosen not to fight it. We sat across from Dr. Chen's desk. The tumor is responding, she said. I looked up. Better than we expected, the growth has slowed significantly. With continued treatment, we're looking at the real possibility of full remission. Victoria's hand found mine under the table. What does that mean? I said carefully. It means you might not die, Caleb. Dr. Chen smiled. It means you might be okay. I sat very still. I'd spent 4 months making peace with a timeline, had organized my world around an endpoint, had let myself love someone because the cost of protecting myself seemed pointless when I was running out of time anyway. And now time was returning. Victoria was gripping my hand so tight it hurt. I looked at her. Her face was doing everything at once. Relief, joy, and underneath both of those, fear. We drove home in silence. Not our comfortable silence, the charged kind. I watched Victoria's profile the whole way. What are you thinking? I asked. Nothing. Victoria, I'm thinking that I don't know how to do this, she said. The words came out rough, like they'd scraped her on the way. Do what? This, she gestured between us. Whatever this is. When the timeline was what it was, I could. She stopped. You could love me because it was safe, I said. Because it was going to end. She flinched. Say it, I said. I'm not angry, just say it. I let myself care about you because I told myself it wasn't permanent. That I could survive losing you because losing you was always coming, and I could control how much it cost me. Her voice was very even, very controlled, like a woman holding a cracked thing together, and now it's permanent, and it's not controlled. And I don't know how to live with that. You mean you're scared? I am terrified, she said, and I don't do terrified. I told you that in the car months ago. I was right. I looked at her. This was the real Victoria Ashford. Not the cold one, not the one from the magazines. The one underneath. The one who sat on bathroom floors and brought coffee, and held hands under doctors' desks, and laughed at a cat in a wall. The one who'd been alone so long she'd mistaken it for strength. Victoria, I said. Look at me. She looked at me. I'm not a project. I'm not a timeline. I'm not a safe bet you can control. I paused. But I'm also not going anywhere, and neither are you, and that terrifies both of us. What do we do with that? We stay terrified together, and we do it anyway. She looked at me for a long time. I've never done anything I couldn't win, she said. Love isn't something you win, it's something you survive together. That sounds exhausting. It probably is. She looked back at the road. I oppressed people, she said suddenly. I need to say that I was awful to people who worked for me. People who needed a kind word and got a cut instead. I ran people out of buildings they'd lived in for 30 years because the numbers said to. She stopped. I was not a good person. Caleb, I know. And you. I know who you were when I met you. Then why? Because I also know who you are now. And I don't think that was ever the real you. I think that was someone so scared of being small, that they made everyone else smaller first. Tears, not falling, just present in her eyes, fighting to be let out. I want to be better, she said. I've been thinking about it for months. The buildings. The tenants I pushed out. There are things I can undo. Not all of it, but some. I know. Is that enough? To want to be better? It's the start, I said. The wanting is always the start. She pulled the car over. Not because she needed to. She just pulled over. And she let the tears out. Finally, quietly, like something that had been waiting a very long time to be released. I didn't say anything. I put my arm around her. And she leaned into me. Victoria Ashford, billionaire. The most feared landlord in the city. Leaning against a plumber. Crying quietly on a street corner. More herself than she'd been in years. What happened between us over the next months? I've already started to tell you. The coffee, the bathroom floor. The silence that became comfortable. The laughter about the cat in the wall. The tears on a street corner. But I haven't told you about the arguments. Because we argued. Significantly. Victoria was used to control. Used to being the one who determined the terms of everything. She'd walk into my apartment and rearrange my kitchen because her way was more efficient. She'd cancel things on my behalf without asking. She'd make decisions about my treatment, my schedule, my diet, and present them as facts. You changed my doctor's appointment, I said one evening. Flat, quiet. She was reading at the kitchen table. Your current time conflicted with a treatment window. I moved it to Thursday. Without telling me. I'm telling you now. Victoria. I sat down across from her. Look at me. She looked up from her book. I'm not one of your properties, I said. You don't get to manage me. I was being helpful. You were being controlling. There's a difference. Her jaw tightened. Everything I've done has been to help you. I know, and I'm grateful, but I need to be part of my own life, even when my life is complicated, even when it's easier to let you run it. I don't understand why you're angry, because I spent years being independent and strong and handling everything alone. And now I'm sick, and I need help, and I hate that. And if you take over everything, then I stopped. Started again. Then I'm just a sick man in a nice apartment. I need to still be me, Victoria. Do you understand that? Long silence. She looked down at her book. I don't know how to help without taking over, she said finally. She stopped. You've never had to calibrate, I said. Because nobody pushed back. You push back. Someone has to. She closed the book. I'll try, she said. That's all I can promise. Trying is enough. I moved your appointment back. Thank you. And I threw out your instant coffee. It's terrible and you're not allowed to have it. I stared at her. Victoria, that one is non-negotiable. She opened her book again. You can push back on everything else. He shook his head, but he was almost smiling. You are the most. I know, she said. You love me anyway. He looked at her. Yeah, he said quietly. I really do. And that is where I have to stop, and ask you to come back for part 2. Because what happens next? The remission, the marriage, the 3 years, the headache that came back, the twins, the surgery, and the morning that changed everything forever. That is a story that deserves its own time, its own space. Come back. You need to know how this ends.